Good afternoon, David Hanson, Superintendent, Dawson-Boyd Schools. As promised, I would put a video together talking about our transition to distance learning. First and foremost, I do want to make sure that everybody understands that there is not anybody inside of this building, both the elementary and the high school, that wants to go to distance learning. There's been a number of reasons why. We could go very deep into them. However, I'm just going to stay very surface with them. We are seeing a large number of active cases inside the county that are directly related to our school district. A lot of them are parents, a lot of them are students or siblings of students, and so we are seeing a large number of results or situations that are directly related to our students coming in. The number of staff and students are definitely affected by either positive test results or close contact protocol that the state of Minnesota has put together. Just as a couple of examples that are affecting our learning model inside the building. Just today, we were trying to schedule our daycare, which is required by the school district under executive order. And it took us, we have substitutes of substitutes filling in for people to run that daycare. That's exactly what's happening in the classroom right now. And because of that, obviously that does greatly affect our learning effectiveness and our teaching effectiveness inside the building. At other times, the staff that are here, they are foregoing their scheduled breaks, their lunches, their prep periods, just to fill in, to keep it going. Principals, myself, we've had a couple of administrative assistants fill in. So that's how badly it is affecting us. That's not to say that there are a lot of positive cases inside the building. There are a couple teachers, a couple students, definitely a couple of support staff. Won't deny that. But a big part of it is because of the close contact, and we are seeing a large number of students and staff having to be quarantined because of that. As it's probably pretty easy to see, community spread of the virus has definitely reached a point of where it is not controlled anymore. Definitely going a strong community spread going on right now. It would probably be my best guess that it would be only a matter of time that it would enter the building where it would take over the building. And so that's another reason. As usual, safety has always been a priority, but now that the spread is rampant, it has taken on the #1 priority, and I do have to maintain the safety as well as the integrity of inside the building. Generally, what's going to happen? November 23rd and 24th, there will not be any school. They will be counted as instructional days. However, they are planning days as given to us by the governor under executive order. These 2 days will be used as planning days by the teachers to make sure that we are ready to go for distance learning, which basically will start on November 30th. However, Blackjack Babies, that schedule will be the same. Emergency daycare for children of Tier 1 workers, that will be open Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday, the lunches will be offered, the hot lunch, etc. The take-home lunch will be offered or allowed. And that pickup is at the Memorial Auditorium doors or the cafeteria doors, and that time frame to pick that up is between 11:30 and 11:45 a.m. And then, as I already mentioned, the first day of distance learning will actually be for students on November 30th. What you see now up on the screen are the schedules. One thing that I do want to make mention is that the preschool through grade 6, those are sample schedules. A more defined schedule will be sent out from your child's respective classroom teachers. It's just that I wanted to make sure that people are aware that elementary teachers, elementary classes, there is a definite schedule that will be coming out, and this is probably what's going to look like. Very similar to what it looks like. Those things are not completely nailed down yet. Like I said, next week, Monday and Tuesday, is when the teachers will have that more nailed down. However, the schedule for grades 7 through 12, that is set in stone. Mondays, 8:30 a.m., it's a live meeting with your advisory groups or teachers. And then between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., teachers will be trying to get a hold of, and or students can get a hold of teachers to make sure that any work or any questions that there may be can be taken care of. Tuesdays and Thursdays will be odd class periods, so periods 1, 3, 5, 7, and you can see the time frames there. Wednesdays and Fridays will be even class periods, 2, 4, 6, 8. I cannot stress to you the importance to make sure that there are expectations on this distance learning model that we have. This last spring, when we went through the distance learning model, starting in March and through the ending of the school year, obviously a lot of it was new to our teachers. There were not a lot of resources that we could use as far as teaching and so forth like that. And so, admittedly, a lot of it was just be in contact with your respective students. However, since we have learned from last fall, there are going to be expectations on a daily basis from the students. Now, elementary, a little bit flexible there, just because we know that not every student's going to be able to log on to a computer by themselves. They need to make sure that mom or dad or a babysitter can help them log in. We understand that. However, what will be expected of them? Well, obviously, as I mentioned, teachers, if you want to see the live instruction, it will be per the schedule that the teachers are issuing. And again, those schedules will be sent out here after next week, Tuesday. However, those presentations will be recorded for those that cannot attend, quote unquote, at the scheduled time. Again, we understand parents are going to be working. This is not a model that is very parent friendly, and we know that. And so we understand that these are lessons that are going to have to be recorded, and they will be available by accessing the teacher's website and or Google Drive, just depending on the age group of the students. As much as possible, we are asking that students complete the work and return it via digital means. In other words, if you have the ability to scan and email it in, please do that. Save it as a PDF, send it in that way, or send a text picture to your respective teachers. That way we don't have a lot of paper going back and forth. We do have the ability to pick up and deliver things just like we did in the spring. However, with a lot of our people that did that, they were very busy with the delivery and pickup last spring. Now they're going to be busy in the classroom. And so those numbers of people that did that last year, we aren't going to have that. I will admit that teachers may not be 100% available after regular hours. Now I'm terming regular hours from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. But I do want to emphasize and to make sure that you do text, email, call, whatever your respective teacher. If you have a question, you can't find something, whatever. I know that our teachers last spring were on the phone, emailing, so forth. Sometimes even into the wee hours of the morning, like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, obviously, those are situations that I am not expecting our teachers to follow. I am putting, definitely around 7 o'clock. Teachers, after that point, it is up to you if you want to respond immediately on that day or night. Otherwise, it's going to have to wait until the next day. We need to remember that teachers are people too, and they do have to have their own time to come down off of teaching like this. It is very stressful to them, just as it is to you parents. And I hope that there's a common understanding that goes both ways there. The work that is issued, it will be graded, and the students will be responsible for it. And the only way that this will change is if the teacher says this will not be graded. So late work, that type of thing, definitely. Obviously, that's why the Mondays will be in there, such that they can contact teachers, get that makeup work turned in and everything else. But I do want to emphasize that the work issued will be graded unless the teacher says it is not. So that is definitely a severe change compared to what it was last spring. Grades 7 through 12, you've done this song and dance already. You did it back in September when we had the heat pipe break. You've kind of been doing it for the last couple of weeks because we've been in the hybrid model. As you know, teachers will be live per the schedule given, and that was on the previous slide. Students, you are required to log in at the scheduled time for that class period. They are taking attendance for that respective class, and it will be recorded as present, tardy, or absent if you are not there. So please make sure that you understand that. You are going to be held responsible for that schedule. No different than before, assigned work is required. You students, you will be required to complete to the best of your ability and get it turned in. H2O, late work, etc. All of those things that would take place as if we had in-person learning model going on, those things are a definite possibility. It will affect your overall grade if you don't get that work done to the best of your ability and turned in. You'd be surprised, parents, how many times students have actually completed their work and they just didn't turn it in. And so I just want to emphasize that. Again, teachers are going to be primarily available during the 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. time frame, just as I mentioned with the elementary. I am leaving it up to the teachers as far as how they want to set their schedule once the 8 to 3:30 p.m. time is done. Obviously, don't expect a response, students, if you are trying to get a hold of a teacher after 7 p.m. And definitely, and this did happen, parents, we did have students emailing, texting, sometimes calling our teachers at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Just know that you're not going to get a response from the teachers if that happens. Like I said before, this is all the same as earlier in September when we had the broken heat pipe. And obviously we also carried on during the hybrid learning model here for the last few weeks. Some information for your contact information. Student Health, Leah Prestold, email address and phone number here at the school is listed there. If you have questions and or would like to sign up for student lunches, please be in contact with Amy Rasmussen. Any questions or information or requests for Blackjack babies, transportation, COVID daycare, all of those elements are under Tony Offit. Elementary principal contact Amy Heidemann, Ryan Stotesbury with the high school, and of course myself, the superintendent, is there. Some other things that I made mention in the school board meeting earlier this morning, irregardless of what you feel about things, obviously I do want you to understand that it takes great responsibility on all of our parts. If you feel like, you know what, maybe when is a good time to have my child tested? When should I get tested? I'm not going to deny this would be a great time to have your child or children tested. And again, that is if you so wish. That is your decision, your responsibility. As much as possible, please don't put yourselves and or your family into a potential virus situation. This morning I used the example because I've got 2 kids at home, and definitely they get a little bored and, Dad, can we go here? Can we go there? Is it necessary, or is it just something to have a break? And you got to be careful with that, because it's not just our county that is seeing a very large rampant spread of this virus. It's the South Dakota counties to our west. It's the counties here in Minnesota that are around us. And so at any point, if it's something that you don't have to do, please definitely think twice. And I understand you're going to go grocery shopping. You need to get gas. You got to go to work, all of those things. I understand that. But again, I'm just asking for you to definitely think twice before any of that takes place. If you do get tested, if your children do get tested, please continue to report those results to Leah. It's not that we have anything to do with it, but what we do wind up wanting to do is, because Leah has a reporting responsibility for our students and families to the state of Minnesota with the Department of Health. And this is one of the things that, even going into hybrid mode learning models, concern me greatly, because it's like, well, now that we're only seeing the kids 2, maybe 3 times a week, are we going to be able to stay on top of the positive tests? Are we going to get told? Or is it going to be a matter of, oh yeah, I got tested yesterday, I'm now at school today. Well, why are you here? Because if you got tested yesterday, you need to stay isolated, quarantined until you get the results. My fear is that we go into full distance learning model like what we're going into starting next week, Monday the 23rd. My fear is that people are going to get tested and they're not going to report it to Leah. Now, Leah is the only one that really knows these names, okay? And her being a health professional, she understands HIPAA rules and everything else. So, but really want to emphasize the importance that if you do get tested, you do get a positive result or a negative result, please let Leah know. And I am also going to reiterate, please do your part in the distancing, washing your hands, wearing a face covering. I extrapolate on it a little bit more in my article that goes in next week's newspaper. I understand, that there's definitely personal feelings about what is or what isn't about this virus, what is or what isn't about wearing a face covering, and so on and so forth. The thing that everybody needs to understand is that public schools, or actually all schools in the state of Minnesota, are under a set of rules. And it doesn't matter if you believe or don't believe that this virus is real, that it's going to affect somebody, that face coverings do or don't do or do not work. Those things don't matter when it comes to these rules, because as we're seeing now, even though maybe a number of these positive cases in the county, well, they're really not that big of a deal. It didn't affect me that much. That's fine. And that's awesome. I'm glad that hopefully that situation is happening if you are positive. But does everybody understand that that positive case causes us to take note, and the Department of Health, as well as our county, as well as our regional health team says, okay, Dawson-Boyd, look at this. I think we're well up over 90, almost close to 100 cases that are directly related to the Dawson-Boyd area with the zip codes. And of those active, I believe it's just close to roughly about 90 of them are currently active. That's a big deal. Now, fine, 89 of them, you know what, not that big of a deal. I didn't get really that sick, whatever. That's fine. That's great. And I'm happy for that. However, it affects us with our count. And so I need everybody to do their part, because if we're going to come out of this distance learning and we can get back at a minimum to a hybrid learning model on December 14th, we need everybody to do their part. So please take heed to that. As I mentioned in my article next week in the newspaper, I completely and agree with individual rights, 100%. I don't have an issue with it, and they are sacred. I don't have any issue with that. However, we are playing with a set of rules that really doesn't take that into account. And again, whether you like that or not, again, I can't argue for or against that. I have to play by the rules that are given to me by the state of Minnesota. So please do your part. Like I said, if we can see the active case numbers drop below the 45, 50 number by December 11th, and the situation inside of our building does improve, where we actually have our teachers and support staff here on a full basis, we can get back into, at a minimum, into that hybrid model. I would love it, just because of the health of everybody. I would love it that if we could get back into complete in-person learning. I don't know if that leap backwards into that type of learning model is possible in the next couple of weeks, but I'm hopeful. I believe that we all can do this. I believe that we can team together and we can get this right. I know that right now it's the holiday season and etc. Again, you have to make your own choices what you do for your family. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But I do need your help by doing your part so that we can get back to, at least, like I said, a minimum. And again, in review, this learning model of distance learning will begin starting next week, Monday and Tuesday. Obviously, as I mentioned, those are planning days for teachers. So this first student day for distance learning will be Monday, November 30th. And this will continue at least until December 11th. And hopefully between now and then, all of us can do our part. We can get this virus at least under a little bit better control. And at a minimum, we can get back to the hybrid model that we were in before we went into this. I want to say thank you. Definitely have a great weekend. Please stay healthy and well, and we will talk to you at any time that you have questions. Don't be afraid to contact me, either via phone, email. I will meet you face to face, but more likely I'll have to meet you outside. But like I said, I do need your help, and we're going to do the best that we can. And I agree. I think everybody understands that we agree. Distance learning model is not the best way to educate students, but right now we have to put safety as the absolute number one priority. Thank you.